of the big stories in the news is Elon Musk has endorsed Tommy Robinson. This endorsement comes in the form of this tweet, which was free Tommy Robinson, at Tommy Robinson on Twitter. But what this is important to talk about is the context of this. This is in the context of the potential for Elon Musk to donate up to £100 million to Reform UK to be part of their war chest electorally for this election cycle. There's been lots and lots of discussion about the potential for Elon Musk to start bankrolling Reform UK as a political party. And for someone like Elon Musk to endorse Tommy Robinson in such strong language as the richest man in the world, this creates problems for Reform UK. This creates a lot of problems for Reform UK, because Tommy Robinson is a divisive figure to say the least, and this could have potential impacts on their electability if they're seen to be fraternising with somebody as high profile as Musk is, whilst he endorses somebody like Tommy Robinson. This really does put the cat amongst the pigeons, if you pardon the expression, with regards to Reform UK's political project. And Nigel Farage has been very clear on his position on Tommy Robinson, and always has been, to Nigel Farage's credit, and has officially rejected Tommy Robinson after Elon Musk had backed him, saying this: "I never wanted Tommy Robinson to join UKIP. I don't want him to join Reform UK, and he won't be." During the UK election in the summer, Farage said he never wants anything to do with Tommy Robinson, while in August he accused the far-right agitator of efforts to stir up hatred amid the riots following the killing of 3 schoolgirls in the seaside town of Southport. He also spoke about this on the telly, just recently, I believe, and so has Lee Anderson, somebody who is definitely to the right of Nigel Farage. I mentioned on stream before that I think that Farage is probably the most moderate out of the 5 Reform UK MPs. He's certainly not as right-wing as Lee Anderson is, or Rupert Lowe, and definitely not James McMurdoch either. Like, Richard Tyson and Nigel Farage are probably the most moderate of the 5. But even Lee Anderson has come out to rebuke Tommy Robinson's supporters, as you can hear in this clip.
Just this week, Labour's... Look, are you going to shut up or just go out? Do you want to come up here and speak? Do you want to come up?
So he's out there telling Tommy Robinson supporters to shut up, and Nigel Farage has officially said that he doesn't want them in the party. So there's a clear distance that Farage is putting between himself and Tommy Robinson. And there's a very specific reason for this. There is an electoral ceiling for the far right. Across Europe, we are seeing a really, really shallow ceiling for the far right. Despite all of this talk of the rise of the far right around Europe, far right parties don't really get more than 20% of the vote. Like, Austria is probably an outlier with the Freedom Party, but the only actual kind of totemic far right party that's managed to get itself into a position of getting more than 30% of the vote is the Rassemblement National in France. It's Marine Le Pen. And what Marine Le Pen has done to the National Rally in France is moderate their image to the public. The big thing to create an electoral cohort that can support you as somebody on the radical right is to ensure that you moderate your position so that normies vote for you. There is nothing, absolutely nothing at all for Farage to gain, for Reform UK to gain, from endorsing Tommy Robinson. All it will do is push away potential more moderate people who are sick of the Westminster duopoly and who are amenable to right-wing policies, who agree with the anti-immigration positions of Reform UK, if they have Tommy Robinson as somebody who they endorse, who is part of the party, who is part of the movement. They have to absolutely rebuke these people publicly. It doesn't matter if they have the support of these people electorally, because that's what really matters to Reform UK, is getting seats in councils, in the Commons, electorally. It's not how many members you have. Despite their protestations that they're more popular than the Conservatives because of the number of members they have. Like, that's just for show. That's all for the media. That doesn't actually matter to Reform UK how many members they have, mostly because members mean nothing. You're subscribers to the project, to the PLC of Reform UK, because it's a company. You're not somebody who has voting rights within the party. It's not democratised. Ben Habib left because it wasn't democratised. What they actually care about is getting people elected. And if you push people away because you have relationships with somebody who, actually, not many of the population like Tommy Robinson, very, very few actually like him, he's just got a very core group of very supportive fans, that's no good to Reform UK. A bunch of very dedicated Tommy Robinson fans is worth nothing to them, whereas every single moderate voter who's anti-immigration, who's as sick of Tories and Labour, who could potentially vote for them, that's gold dust. There is no point in endorsing Tommy Robinson, especially since, despite all of the far-right people in the country saying, oh, Farage is a traitor, he says that immigration was good up until mass migration, no, we need to be properly nativist, we need mass deportations, and Farage has ruled that out, he's a traitor. Newsflash, these people are all going to vote Reform UK. No matter how many times they get angry with Nigel Farage for not supporting mass deportations and for saying positive things about integration amongst black people post-Windrush before the Blair era, for example, no matter how many times he says things that these really kind of rabid Tommy Robinson supporters believe are wrong, no matter how many times he rebukes this, they'll still vote for Reform UK at the end of the day. There's nowhere else for them to go. There is no point in Farage pandering to these people. They're going to vote for Reform UK. He has to moderate the party. Because if you look at the kind of people who vote for Reform UK, there's a very specific type. This is from a More in Common study on voters' opinions about the riots that happened over the summer. Now, Reform UK are massive outliers in terms of having some level of sympathy with the riots. And even then, amongst Reform UK, more than 2/3 don't think that the rioters represent the real Britain. And you see similar numbers throughout their opinions throughout this document by More in Common about how people feel about the riots. This 31% here, these people who are kind of an approximation of the kind of people who would support Tommy Robinson, they may be far more of a percentage of Reform UK than the other parties. They're still not a majority though, are they? They're not even close to a majority of the party. So if you say things that are out of step with these 31%, even if they are your kind of true supporter base, as it were, they'll still vote for you because no other party has anything close to that level of internal support for the riots. And when you look at actual broad Reform UK support, it's mostly just people who are from the right wing of the Tories. They're angry with the Tories for failing on a bunch of policy concerns. They're mostly just Tories. And the more you ally with people like Tommy Robinson, you push these people away and you become electorally unviable. Because it's true that Nigel Farage did say that immigration was good up until the 1990s. He's saying things that he believes ingratiates himself with the centre-right. In fact, when interviewed about his links to the far right, despite the fact I personally believe Nigel Farage is a lot more right-wing than he lets on, he's a cold-blooded Thatcherite, an English nationalist down to the core, essentially. He personally believes he single-handedly destroyed the British National Party. He said this before, that there was no one else in the country who did as much as he did to neuter the British National Party by creating a mainstream anti-immigration movement in UKIP, then the Brexit Party, and then in Reform UK. I don't agree with him. I think they just migrated to him and are hiding their power level. The line that he goes with, the message he wants sent to the public about what he represents, is him neutering the far right by voicing their concerns in a moderate way. That's what he wants the public to believe that he is doing. When it's my personal belief, none of these people have changed their opinions. They've just joined Reform UK because there's nowhere else for them to go. So it shouldn't be surprising at all that Nigel Farage is saying that Tommy Robinson is not welcome. But what it does do is it means that it's far less likely for Reform UK to get into bed with Elon Musk unless he rebukes Tommy Robinson too. It's easy to ignore, like party hangers-on, someone who's tangentially related. It was probably easy to ignore Frank Hester. It's not easy to ignore Elon Musk. Hey there, if you enjoyed the video, make sure that you like and leave a comment. That helps the video out in the algorithm. If you subscribe and ring the bell, it'll let you know when I go live. I stream every day on YouTube and Twitch. You can also follow all of my socials down in the description. And if you want to support me in a more financial manner, there's a join button for membership. It's just 99p to be a member on YouTube, as well as a Patreon, and there's some merch there as well. And hopefully I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.